This young girl actually happened to be one of the assassins at the restaurant. Ling Han's expression became strange. This was really too much of a coincidence, wasn't it? This young girl was actually hiding at his place, but when he thought about it, Huyang Academy was indeed the best place for them to avoid their pursuers. Moreover, this was the most secluded, desolate corner of Huyang Academy, so it wasn't really too much of a coincidence that this pair of assassins had found their way here. He smiled calmly and said, "I do not like someone pointing their sword at me." "Hang, even if you don't like it, you'll have to like it now," the young girl declared a little naively, not showing the slightest bit of sign that she was a cold-blooded assassin. Ling Han stretched out a finger, pressed down on the sword's blade, and said, "You have just used 2 heart speed as 1 technique. Do you even have a single % of your battle prowess left?" His physical body had already surpassed the level of body of dead tree, and was nearing the level of body of rock cliff. Even if he was not circulating origin power to increase his defenses, there was no way the sharp blade of the sword was able to wound his finger. He gave a flick of his finger, and the sword immediately swept to another side. "This is much better." The corners of his lips turned up into a smile. The young girl could not hold back an expression of surprise, and asked, "How did you know we used 2 heart speed as 1 technique? That isn't some kind of incredible secret technique." Ling Han shook his head. In his last life, he did not have any siblings. Thus, even when he had obtained this technique, he only took one look at it and tossed it aside right after. He only knew the use of this secret technique as well as its drawback, but could not recall its exact details. "Hang, even if we only have a single % of our original battle prowess left, it would be more than enough to take care of a mere 6th layer of element gathering tier martial artist like you," the young girl said, unconvinced, and once again raised her sword to point at him. Ling Han laughed loudly and said, "If you misbehave, I'll smack your bottom! Scoundrel!" A red blush immediately rose up on the pretty face of the young girl, and her sword suddenly shot towards Ling Han in an attack. If this young girl's battle prowess had not dropped, then Ling Han would really have not dared to receive her attack head-on. After all, the 7th layer of Gushing Spring Tier was much stronger than him. But there may not even be 1,000th of her initial battle prowess left. What more a single %? Additionally, he was a freak whose battle prowess allowed him to stand equal with the 1st layer of Gushing Spring Tier. In simpler terms, the result was that he was at an advantage in terms of battle prowess. Peng, peng, peng. A few punches from Ling Han, and the sword was successfully flung out of the young girl's hands. Ding! And the sword was firmly stabbed into the ground, swaying from side to side. "Will you only behave after getting your bottom smacked?" Ling Han deliberately put on a severe expression. The young girl was so scared that her face had gone pale. Why was she so unlucky? This was her first mission, and it had failed impressively. Moreover, she had only escaped the wolf's den, but had entered into the tiger's lair. Shoo! Another figure flew out. It was the old man, the other assassin. As his hands waved, the threads of the huqin danced, as if they were silk threads, winding towards Ling Han. "Old man, though I have respect for the elderly, but if you flaunt your seniority in front of me, I will not be polite either," Ling Han declared, as he used his fists to parry the old man's attacks. Due to his powerful defenses and sturdy physical body, those huqin threads that should have been able to cut through metals could do nothing against his bare fists. The young girl also advanced with her sword in hand. The two of them moved in well-practiced coordination, and when they combined forces, their collective battle prowess not only doubled, but increased by 2 to 3 times. However, their battle prowess had suffered a drastic setback, and along with the fact that their opponent was a monster like Ling Han, they were still suppressed to the extent that they couldn't even fight back, even if they just joined forces. The two of them could not help but feel extremely astounded. Even if their battle prowess had dropped drastically, if they combined forces, their power should be more than enough to dominate over any 9th layer of element gathering tier martial artist. Yet this young man in front of them was really monstrously strong. He actually managed to turn the tables on them to suppress them. If you misbehave, then you'll be thrashed. Thrashed! Linghan's foot kicked out and hit directly on the young girl's bottom, kicking her some distance away before throwing a punch onto the old man's chest, also forcing him to fly off some distance away from him. But after he had thrown this punch, Linghan's expression became a little strange. There was something off about that feeling. He walked towards the old man who was already lying down on the ground, now only able to moan in pain. Linghan felt about the old man's face and suddenly tore off a thin mask with a tear. The old man's appearance changed greatly in that single instant and actually revealed an angry-looking, beautiful young face that looked quite similar with the young girl's face. No wonder. Linghan finally understood. Just now, he was still feeling curious about how there could be such a large age gap between this pair of brother and sister. Now it looks like the elder brother wasn't the elder brother at all, but an elder sister who had simply disguised herself as an old man. "Lecher!" The elder sister shouted in anger, a furious blush on her face before actually fainting from her rage. Linghan sighed. He had not deliberately attacked her breast. Who asked this girl to disguise himself as an old man? Sister! After the disguise was exposed, the young girl made no more attempts to gloss things over and immediately called out. Unfortunately, the kick that Linghan delivered just now was really very heavy. Her bottom felt like it was burning even now. She had just gotten up before falling down to sit on the ground again. "How troublesome!" Linghan sighed again. "Do you two not have some other place to hide that you must come here to add on to my troubles?" The young girl put on an expression as if she had been wronged. If they had known that there was a perverted lecher living here, they wouldn't have come here even if they were beaten to death. "Hey, hey, hey! Cursing someone in your heart is not a good thing to do," Linghan said. "How did you know?" the young girl asked in shock, an adorable expression on her face. "With your kind of temperament, you want to be an assassin?" Linghan only felt that the master of these two sisters was really too much of a failure to actually train this kind of assassins.
Their master should practically hit himself with a piece of tofu, thus committing suicide. "What do you care?" The young girl humphed and ignored him. "Watch out, or I will smack your bottom," Linghan threatened. You dare!" The young girl was once again so scared by his threat that her face had turned pale. Usually, she had her elder sister to protect her, but now that her sister was unconscious, she suddenly felt at a loss. "You two only know how to give me trouble." Linghan shook his head. He stretched out a hand, grabbed the collar of the elder sister, and walked over to pick up the younger sister before entering his house. What do you want to do?" The younger sister had turned pale from fear. Was this guy going to commit a crime of lust in broad daylight? "Hehe, what do you think?" Linghan asked, deliberately putting on a wicked expression. The younger sister was so scared her eyes rolled in the back of her head and actually fainted too. I give up. They are like this. And they want to become assassins." Linghan shook his head. At first, when he saw the well-coordinated movements of these two girls and how well-practiced they were, he had thought they were experienced assassins. But in the end, they were mere rookies. He tossed the two girls into Hunyu's room. He thought for a while, then moved Hunyu's egg into his own room. Who knows when the little girl would hatch out of her egg? After a short while, the pair of sisters awoke, and when they discovered they were fully dressed and there was nothing off with their appearances, they both felt relieved. "Sister, let's take advantage of that guy not being here and quickly flee," the younger sister said. "How do we flee?" The elder sister said with a bitter smile. "After we used two hearts beat as one, we forced ourselves into another battle. Can you even use origin power now? If we go out now and fall into the hands of those smelly men, I would rather die. But that guy is really bad, always saying that he's going to smack my bottom. the younger sister said, feeling very wronged. That person's eyes look very clear, so I don't think he's that kind of person. The elder sister shook her head. Sister, don't forget that he groped your breast just now. The younger sister pointed out this fact. Stupid girl! Don't talk nonsense! I was punched by him! The elder sister quickly argued. What's the difference? The younger sister mumbled. Ling Han had just pushed open the door and entered, and could not stop his face from twitching. This pair of sisters were even more amateurish than he had thought.